Alright, in this video, we're also going to factor using trinomial. However, something will be different than the video that we previously did with factoring trinomial. You'll notice that you have a 2 in front here. Remember before we had x squared, whatever? Here you have a number that's not just the imaginary 1 that's in front. You have a 2. Okay, so it's very important that when you see this on a midterm or on a final or on a class test, if you see factor trinomial, if you notice that your first term is raised to the 2, right? Because that's going to tell you factor trinomial. You also have to be careful if there's a number in front. If there is, you still do the sum, right? Sum product that we talked about. Okay, so sum product. However, you're going to have to do something different once you get this. So let's do the sum product again. What two numbers that when multiplied give me, remember the last term with the sign, times the first term. So negative 6 times 2, what's that? Negative 12. So negative 12. So you're going to have to find two numbers that give you negative 12. And when added, give you the middle term. And its sign, negative 1. So again, run through the different factors. Negative 12 and 1, right? 12 times negative 1. What else? Negative 6 times 2. 6 times negative 2. What else? 4 times negative 3. Negative 4 times 3. I think that's it, right? So you have to look at all these factors and say which one, when I add them, give me negative 1. Well, it looks like the last one does, right? Negative 4. So let's see. Negative 4 plus 3 give me negative 1. Perfect. That's the one I want. Okay? So normally when we didn't have a number in front of here, we would say, okay, my factors are x minus 4 and x plus 3. In this case, that would be wrong because you have a number in front of the x squared. So you have to do something different. What you have to do, and this is a really important step, you rewrite this term here, 2x squared. Where these come in is right here. Minus 4x plus 3x, and you write your last term, minus 6. So what the heck did I do here? Essentially what I did, guys, is you rewrite your first term, and your two factors that you got here now replace this term. They replace the middle term, okay? And make sure that you put an x to both of them. So the minus 4 will be minus 4x, the plus 3 will be plus 3x. And then you rewrite your last term. Okay, very important that you practice these. Remember that you rewrite your last term. The middle term will be replaced by the factors that you got, including x on each, and you rewrite your last term. When do you do this? When you have a number that's not the imaginary one in front of a factored trinomial. Is that clear? And now, what kind of factoring does this look like? It looks like factoring by grouping. Why grouping? Because there's 4 terms, right? So you'll group this together and you'll group this together. Okay? So you pull out a greatest common factor, signs, numbers, letters, remember? Positive, 2. What's the highest x that I can pull out? Just an x. What does that leave me with? 2 is done, it's gone. How many x's do I have left? Well, I have an 1x. Right? What about here? I pulled out a 2, so I'm left with what? Minus 2. Right? And my x's are fully factored, so I'm done with that one. So again, a positive. What's the greatest common factor I can pull out? I did my sign, which is a positive. My number? 3. And I can't pull out an x because there's no x here. What am I left with here? X. What? Minus 6 divided by 3 is 2. And look, a good trick, guys, you must get the same factor on the inside to know you did it right. And now what do? You group this with this and this with this. So your first term is 2x plus 3. Your last term is x minus 2. And this is factored. Okay, guys, so please remember, if you're not sure of how I did this, rewind the video and look at it again, and you'll see that it'll all make sense. The key here is factor trinomial when there's a number that is not the imaginary one in front of the x squared.